Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about 44 facts you probably did not know about Game of Thrones. US President Barack Obama personally asked for the makers about Jon Snow's fate following the Season 5 finale, and also requested to see Season 6 before anyone else because he's such a fan of the show. Charles Dance found Lord Tywin's appalling treatment of his son disgusting. He said that it was quite difficult for him to mistreat a genuinely nice man like Peter Dinklage. Charles Dance has revealed that he always ends scenes with co-star Peter Dinklage by apologizing for his character's awful comments and behavior. Sophie Turner, who plays Sansa Stark, adopted the dog that played her direwolf in the show. The dog is named Zuni. A replica of Gandalf's sword, Glammed Ring from the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trilogies is forged inside the Iron Throne. Lena's head and face was animated over a body via CGI in the 10th and final episode of the 5th season, as well in the 3rd episode of the 7th season. Lena Headey was not able to do the Walk of Atonement sequence due to her pregnancy, and in real life Lena Headey's upper torso is covered in tattoos. After filming his last scene, Sean Bean played football with his replica head. After the first episode of the show aired, the actor who plays Joffrey, Jack Gleeson, received a letter from George R. R. Martin that read, "Congratulations on your marvelous performance. Everyone hates you." Kit Harington revealed that he used Jon Snow's fate to avoid a speeding ticket. The officer asked him to either reach to the police station to be booked or to tell him whether Jon will live in Season 6 of Game of Thrones after his character's story ended in the Season 5 finale. Kit actually told him the secret. Game of Thrones is the first TV series in history to be screened in IMAX theaters. Jon Snow's execution in the Season 5 finale, in which he is stabbed by Alistair Thorne, Ollie, and his other Watch brothers, is strongly influenced by the historic assassination of the Roman Emperor Julius Caesar, when he was stabbed by Roman senators led by Marcus Brutus and Gaius Caesius on March 15, 44 BC. Especially the fact that Caesar's trusted friend Brutus was one of the executioners is paralleled by Jon's friend and personal steward Ollie delivering the final blow. Maester Aemon Targaryen of the Night's Watch is revealed to be blind in both the novels and the TV show. He was played by Peter Vaughan, who was legally partially blind himself. The Dothraki language was created just for the show and contains more than 3,000 words. In the year 2012, over 160 baby girls in the US were legally named Khaleesi, after the character in the show, although it's not the character's name Daenerys but a title. There are a lot of adult film stars in Game of Thrones. Some played characters in Littlefinger's establishment, some played Craster's daughters. Sybil Kakili, who also starred in adult films in the past, played quite an important character, Shae. Emilia Clarke, Dany Targaryen, was dosed in so much fake blood during the horse heart eating scene in Season 1 that she got stuck to a toilet seat during a break. No character appears in every episode. Only 3 characters appeared in every episode of a given season during the original 10-episode format. Cersei and Joffrey appeared in every episode of the 1st season, and Tyrion appeared in every episode of the 2nd and 5th season. Tyrion, Dany, Jon, Littlefinger, Davos, and Sansa appeared in every episode of the shortened 7th season. Prior to being cast, Lena Headey and Jerome Flynn were in a relationship that ended on such a bad terms that each had a clause inserted into their contracts that they were never to share scenes and must remain apart on set. The character Joffrey Baratheon is modeled after the unbalanced Roman Emperor Caligula, whose 4-year reign by most accounts was marked by extreme cruelty and sadism. In Westeros, bastards born to nobles are given surnames different than their fathers, according to the region where they were born. The surnames are mostly associated with the geographic and climatic features of the respective regions. Flowers the Reach, Hill the Westerlands, Pike the Iron Islands, Rivers the Riverlands, Sand Dorne, Snow the North, Stone the Vale, Storm the Stormlands, and Waters the Crownlands. Special surnames apply only to noble-born bastards who are openly acknowledged by their noble parent. Noble-born bastards unacknowledged by their noble parent like Gendry, or those whose parents are commoners, cannot use the special surname. Author George R. R. Martin was asked if he had a resolution or ending to the seemingly endless conflict. He jokingly replied that the next book would just be a description of a cloud of dust, or snow being driven by the wind across a vast graveyard full of tombstones. Carice Van Houten, Melisandre, had previously been asked to audition for the role of Cersei Lannister, but was unable to do so because she was working on another project. Robert Baratheon is never seen sitting on the Iron Throne. The first king that we see sitting on it is Joffrey. Yara Greyjoy, introduced in the 2nd book and season, is named Asha in the books. The name was changed for the television series to avoid confusion with Osha. However, in German dubbed version she is called Asha, like in the books. Similarly, Lysa Arryn's son Robert is named Robin in the series to avoid confusion with Robert Baratheon. Executive producers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss said the production of the show is a massive undertaking. It lasts an entire year and they shoot the show like a 10-hour movie. Season 5 alone was shot in 5 countries, on 151 sets, for 240 days, having 166 cast members, over 1,000 crew members and over 5,000 extras. Interesting fact is that although Season 8 will have only 6 episodes, it took the most time to shoot and it's got the biggest budget thus far. Thomas Brody Sangster was 22 when he was cast as a 13-year-old Jojen Reed. Ivan Rheon was the primary runner-up to play Jon Snow, but was later cast as Ramsay Bolton. While the first 2 seasons roughly covered George R. R. Martin's novels Game of Thrones and The Clash of Kings, respectively, the 3rd season covers about 2/3 of the 3rd novel A Storm of Swords. The 4th season covers the rest of A Storm of Swords and chapters from the 4th and 5th novels A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons. The 5th season covers almost entirely A Feast for Crows, A Dance with Dragons, and even early events of the unreleased 6th novel The Winds of Winter. Seasons 6 through 8 are partially based on unpublished storylines George provided showrunners David Benioff and Dan Weiss. They will reportedly appear in The Winds of Winter, and the last book of the series, A Dream of Spring, with several major changes the showrunners saw fit to make while adapting the remaining books to the television medium. However, they claimed in several occasions that the very ending of the show will be almost exactly similar to George's original idea for the ending of the book series. Women in Westeros typically take their husband's surname upon marriage, with an exception of the house holding the Iron Throne, where the surname is only inherited by birth and not marriage. This is why consorts to kings and heirs of the Iron Throne retain their own name: Cersei Lannister instead of Cersei Baratheon, Elia Martell instead of Elia Targaryen. Charles Dance skinned an actual stag carcass on camera for Tywin Lannister's first scene. Charles was shown the procedure the previous day by a butcher. Dany has purple eyes in the books, but the contact lenses Emilia Clarke wore affected her performance, so they were abandoned. In the pilot episode, as 3 boys Jon Snow, Robb Stark, and Theon Greyjoy are preparing for the King's Welcome, actors Alfie Allen, Richard Madden, and Kit Harington each tried to one-up each other in their shirtless scene by flexing and doing push-ups right before they went on camera. Although the wall is the largest structure in the Game of Thrones world, it's not the tallest. In the books, the tallest structure is Hightower in Old Town, and the second tallest the Great Pyramid of Meereen. Cersei Lannister, Lena Headey, was voted by fans as the series' most hated character. Headey has said that she is often the victim of fans who direct their hatred towards her character to her personally. People frequently call her names both online and in public, and at fan conventions she is more than often shunned. She claimed that during an autograph session at Comic-Con, people were actually snatching their books from her hands to prevent her from signing it. Ben Hockey, who plays the character Hot Pie, has opened up a real-life Game of Thrones themed bakery in London. It is operated by Deliveroo. You can literally purchase a direwolf loaf for £1. The bakery is cleverly named You Know Nothing John Doe. Executive producers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss stated when the show began they set the rule of no prophecies, dreams, or flashbacks. All 3 rules were eventually broken, with the inclusion of Bran's dreams of the Three-Eyed Raven, prophetic visions in the House of the Undying experienced by Dany, and a flashback scene to Cersei's childhood. George R. R. Martin stated that the infamous Red Wedding was the hardest chapter for him to write in A Storm of Swords. He was so emotionally attached to the characters that he actually wrote the rest of the book first, then that chapter last. Dany's dragons are named Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion. Each one is named after someone she has lost in her life. Drogon, the largest dragon with black-red scales, is named after her husband Khal Drogo. Rhaegal, who has green-bronze scales, is named after Dany's brother Rhaegar Targaryen, who was killed by Robert Baratheon during Robert's rebellion. Viserion, the cream-gold scaled dragon, is named after Dany's abusive brother Viserys. She claimed that she named her dragon this because Viserys was cruel and weak and frightened, yet he was my brother still. My dragon will do what he could not. George R. R. Martin has said that some fans have correctly guessed the ending of the series. In the first 6 seasons, at least one king or claimant to a throne passed away. In Season 1, they are Robert Baratheon, King of the Iron Throne, Viserys Targaryen, claimant to the Iron Throne, and Khal Drogo. Khal is a chieftain similar in position to a king. In Season 2, Renly Baratheon, claimant to the Iron Throne, and Zarazun Daxos, King of Qarth. In Season 3, Robb Stark, King in the North. In Season 4, Joffrey Baratheon, King of the Iron Throne. In Season 5, Mance Rayder, King Beyond the Wall, and Stannis Baratheon, claimant to the Iron Throne. And in Season 6, Balon Greyjoy, King of the Iron Islands, and Tommen Baratheon, King of the Iron Throne. The 7th season is unique as no king's story ends, although 2 kings effectively surrender their sovereign status. Jon Snow, King in the North, pledges fealty to Dany, and Euron Greyjoy, King of the Iron Islands, pledges fealty to Cersei. The ominous theme song of the Lannisters, The Rains of Castamere, was played throughout each episode of the 4th season, save for the 9th episode to foreshadow the end of Tywin and Joffrey. More than 45 of main characters have passed away during the first 6 seasons. Peter Dinklage, who plays Tyrion Lannister, thought the show had been cancelled. After the pilot was picked up, David Benioff pranked Peter Dinklage by calling him and telling him the show had been cancelled. It was 6 hours before Dinklage learned the truth. The Stark kids are different ages in the show than in the books. When A Game of Thrones the book starts off, the Stark children are much younger than their on-screen counterparts. The Stark children were all aged up for the series. At the start of George R. R. Martin's novels, Robb Stark and Jon Snow are 14 years old. Sansa Stark is 11, Arya is 9, Bran is 7, and Rickon Stark is just 3 years old. At the start of the series, Robb and Jon are 17, Sansa is 13, Arya is 11, Bran is 10, and Rickon is 6. Writer George R. R. Martin was approached several times with plans to adapt his still unfinished book series The Song of Ice and Fire into a movie, but he rejected them all, as he thought his books were much too expensive to be made into a movie. When David Benioff and D.B. Weiss told him they wanted to make a series out of it, he asked them who they thought Jon Snow's mother could be. It was very much like a test question, Benioff admitted. Basically it was like, guess, I want your guess to be intelligent and I want it to be based in the facts of the world, Weiss said. We had already discussed it. We had like a 2-hour conversation about it. It was pretty well trammeled territory for us. Satisfied with the answer, George R. R. Martin agreed to sell the rights to the book. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.